Filipino boy becomes Elvis reincarnated on stage. Simon's jaw drops. The lights dimmed, and a hush fell over the massive America's Got Talent stage. The crowd buzzed with anticipation, but no one could have imagined what was about to happen. A small boy, no taller than the microphone stand, stepped into the spotlight. His name was Miguel Santos, a 13-year-old from a small fishing village in the Philippines. He wore a hand-sewn white jumpsuit, its sequins glimmering faintly under the lights. Nervous but determined, he clutched a vintage microphone with both hands. "Hello," he said softly, his voice trembling. "My name is Miguel, and tonight, I want to sing for my dad." Simon Cowell, raising an eyebrow, leaned forward. There was something about this boy, his eyes, his calm energy, that silenced even the usually rowdy crowd. The music began, the first familiar chords of "Can't Help Falling in Love." And in that moment, something almost magical unfolded. When Miguel started to sing, the entire theater froze. His voice, rich, deep, hauntingly familiar, wasn't just a child's voice. It was as if Elvis Presley himself had been reborn. Every note carried the warmth of nostalgia and the ache of sincerity. Gasps rippled through the audience. By the time he reached the chorus, people were crying, phones were recording, and even Simon's famously stoic face softened in disbelief. It wasn't just mimicry, it was spirit. Miguel wasn't performing, he was channeling. But behind that incredible moment was a story of loss, love, and selflessness that no one yet knew. Miguel had grown up in poverty, in a coastal village devastated by typhoons. His father, Antonio, had once been a local musician who adored Elvis. Every evening, he'd play old vinyl records on a battered turntable, teaching Miguel to mimic the king's voice for fun. It became their nightly ritual, father and son singing under the stars while waves crashed against the shore. But one stormy night, when Miguel was just 10, tragedy struck. Antonio went out to sea to rescue neighbors trapped in the flooding. He never came back. His small fishing boat was found days later, battered and empty. In the months that followed, Miguel stopped singing. Grief filled the silence where music used to live. His mother worked endless hours washing clothes to feed them, while Miguel spent his evenings by the ocean, staring at the horizon his father had disappeared into. But one night, he heard something, the faint crackle of his father's old vinyl player. It had turned on by itself, playing "Love Me Tender." Miguel took it as a sign. He placed his hand over his heart and whispered, "I'll sing again, Papa." That promise became his purpose. He began singing at local gatherings, not for fame, but to raise money for other families affected by storms. Videos of him performing barefoot on makeshift stages spread online, his soulful voice melting hearts across the world. Within months, one video reached an AGT producer. When the invitation came, Miguel hesitated. He'd never left his country before, and his mother couldn't afford the flight. But when his small community learned about it, they came together. Fishermen sold part of their catch, neighbors pooled savings, and even the village teacher donated her entire month's salary. "Go," they told him. "Sing for all of us." Now, standing on that grand stage, Miguel's voice carried more than sound, it carried love. As he sang the final note, he looked up, tears in his eyes. "That was for you, Papa," he whispered. The crowd erupted. Judges stood, stunned. Heidi Klum wiped her tears. Sofia Vergara clapped through sobs. And Simon, speechless for once, pressed the golden buzzer. Gold confetti rained down like blessings from above as Miguel dropped to his knees, overwhelmed. The audience chanted his name. In that instant, it wasn't about a boy winning a competition, it was about a son keeping a promise, a community's hope taking flight, and a father's love echoing through his child's voice. Later, backstage, Simon found Miguel sitting quietly, holding a small wooden cross that had belonged to his father. "You didn't just sing," Simon said softly, kneeling beside him. "You reminded us what music is for, it's for healing." Miguel smiled shyly. My dad used to say music can bring people back to life, he whispered. Maybe he was right. That night, millions watched the performance online. It went viral across every platform, uniting strangers from different countries, faiths, and generations. People said they felt something when they heard Miguel sing, something pure, like hope reborn. Donations poured into his village. Schools were rebuilt, families received new boats, and Miguel's mother no longer had to struggle alone. Months later, during the AGT finals, Miguel returned to the same stage, no longer nervous, but radiant. He began with a simple line, "This one's for everyone who ever lost someone, but still believes in love." And when he sang, "If I Can Dream," the audience rose again. By the final note, every light in the theater was shining, people waving their phones like candles. When the music ended, Simon stood and said, "Miguel, you didn't just bring Elvis back, you brought faith back." The boy smiled through tears. "I just sang what my heart remembered." The crowd roared, and in that sound, somewhere beyond the lights, Miguel felt his father's presence. Warm, proud, eternal.